Today, my celebrity guest is Emmanuel Castis. He is a South African actor, singer, and dancer of Greek descent. He is best known for his roles in the popular soap opera called Isidingo, centering around the lives of wealthy Mr. Haynes' family, the Matabanes, and the lives of the inhabitants of the mining town Horizon Deep. Emmanuel Castis was born in South Africa, where he grew up in the city of Johannesburg. Let's welcome Emmanuel Castis, one of the most beloved actors in South Africa.
Thank you, Geraldine. Thank you for having me. How are you doing?
I'm well, and how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Under the circumstances, yes.
Oh, well, it's part of the norm these days, right?
Absolutely. It's quite surreal. It's surreal. And I guess I've lived a life in surrealism, so can't be too much to adjust to.
Well, I'm glad you're okay.
Thank you.
So, Emmanuel, tell me about your journey in the acting world and living in LA for a while.
Yes, wow. So it's been quite an incredible journey, you know. Being an actor is quite a vocation, and you really have to want to do it. So, as you said, I sort of became a household name on Isidingo on SABC3, and that's when the journey really began. And it's been, you know, an incredible journey, moving from strength to strength, having done quite a lot of soap operas here in South Africa, having done some drama series as well. And so then I decided eventually around about 2013 that I needed to make the next move, and applied for a green card and eventually got it. But that got sort of interrupted with my touring of the stage musical, the Broadway hit Jersey Boys, which just solidified my wanting to go to America. And so I moved to LA in 2016, well, end of 2015 into 2016, and spent a year there, and have kind of been going back and forth since then, working here and working there. And it was quite an incredible eye-opener living in Los Angeles, because over there, it's not like here in South Africa where you have a life outside of my acting world with friends in different careers and all that kind of thing. Over there, it's very much about industry. But the irony of it all is a lot of people will teach you in LA that you should have a life outside of your acting life, because it will always make you a better actor. It was not easy. I'm not one of those people who's gonna it's tough. It's tough trying to make your way there amongst thousands of people who are, you know, aiming to do the same thing. So it was quite a journey, but I also started it quite late. I started it at about 40 years old. I guess if I'd gone there at about 20, it would have been a very different journey, you know. But nonetheless, I learned a lot, and I loved it, and I love going back to LA, and I've made some great connections there. I've worked there. I did some work on General Hospital. I did some work on Days of Our Lives. I've been working with some friends who have been developing a Broadway musical called Mandela. Obviously, because of COVID, it had to take a bit of a break. But we've been working on that as well. So I've been part of the developmental cast. So yeah, that's the journey so far.
She's a diamond digger, such a soul killer. She will only break your heart and tear your soul apart. Gold digger, such a web weaver. She will take a pound of flesh and mash it.
So you're also in Days of Our Lives.
Yes. Yeah, I did one episode, and actually that episode aired this year.
Days of Our Lives is going to have some intriguing cast changes next week, so be sure to keep an eye out. Emmanuel Castis will be turning up as Dr. Bretz on Friday, December 15th. And if the actor looks familiar, then you might have seen him on either General Hospital or One Way.
Waiting to go into studio, and somebody, I'm a nerd. I'm a bit of a nerd, so I do Temp and Bowling League. So someone from my Temp and Bowling League sent me a message going, "You're on screen, you're on screen." So unfortunately, I couldn't catch it because I had to go into film. But it showed. So I shot it in 2017, but here in South Africa, Days of Our Lives is 2 years behind from what they're showing in the States. So 2 years later, well, this is actually 3 years later now.
3 years, yes.
Yeah, it showed on screen. So
congratulations, you're really making waves internationally, hey?
Getting there. Yeah, the last two big things that were great that I worked on, but that I filmed here are Trackers, which was a huge series that did well on Mnet and on Showmax, and has gone globally for HBO Cinemax and shown all over. And then also Warrior Season 2, I did a little part in that. That's also on Cinemax. So I'm making some headway.
Did you also do training as well in LA?
I did do training in LA. I absolutely did. I went to a school. The first school I went to was a woman by the name of Ivana Chabak. She's a very well-known coach. She actually coached Charlize, and she's coached Brad Pitt and all those kind of people. I spent about a month working in those classes with one of their trainers, and then when that was in 2015. And then when I went back, before I left, I did a workshop with a woman called Sarah Mornell. And when I went to live in LA, then I spent a year training with her every week, mainly on audition technique, because she really believes that she can, if you've already got the skill as an actor, she can teach you various audition techniques for various different shows and genres to help you, obviously help you get the job, but also she believes that through that technique, she's also training your acting. You're still working your technique.
That's absolutely amazing. And acting is not just memorizing lines and talking in conversational reality, with intimate emotions. It's about doing things truthfully under, imaginary circumstances. And great acting does take training, as it requires skill. And you have been trained with the best in LA. Together with living in a new country is an educational experience like no other. Every day brings new discoveries, and it can be the most terrifying yet exhilarating adventures ever.
Absolutely. And let me tell you, that word terrifying that you used, it can, absolutely. And I have this image imprinted in my mind all the time since when I was there. I came out of my one acting class, the one at Ivana Chabak, and it's on the corner of a street. It's on the corner of Melrose Avenue, and I can't remember the side street. And you come out the door and you look out onto Melrose Avenue. Everybody knows Melrose Avenue, right, in LA. And there was this young woman standing on the corner of the street. And I could just see how she was completely overwhelmed by it all. Because it's such a big industry there, and it's such a huge pool that you sometimes feel so lost and terrified as to what to do. So, and I could see this in this young lady. I didn't know how to if I should approach her and give her some comfort, but I could just see how she was so overwhelmed by it all. And that's the whole thing. It's quite overwhelming, especially if you go to a foreign city on your own, which is what I did. I went and I lived there. I've got friends and friends there from South Africa as well, but at the end of the day, you're pretty much on your own on that journey.
Well, you did it.
Still getting there, still more to come.
In light of that, let's talk about the soap opera Isidingo, where you have won so many South African hearts. how's that experience?
So that was essentially my first big television experience, and it's what put me on the map. It was exhilarating. It was I was young, so it was sort of, you know, the start of my career. I didn't know where it was going to go. I'd just come off from being on stage, doing some musical theater stuff, and so it was the beginning of it was great. I mean, it was all great because I learned a lot about my craft from being on screen and working every single day, being a working actor, you know. And then, of course, the character, sort of a month into the show, they approached me about making the character homosexual, and that it would be technically, well, basically the first character of his kind on screen, South African screen, which was groundbreaking. So that was, and we approached it in a very good way, and not too stereotypical. And I think eventually what happened was we really created a situation with this character that people completely forgot about his sexual orientation and just fell in love with the character himself, Steve Stefakis. And it was a fantastic journey, made amazing friends along the way and told some amazing stories that needed to be told, you know, that were groundbreaking in South Africa, that, you know, it's then obviously equipped me to move on to the next work and next series. And I tell you, if I didn't have that experience, I would have been so lost in America when I did soap opera there, because over there soap opera is just, it's a machine. They literally shoot like 10, I think Days of Our Lives shot something like 40 items in a day, which is just unheard of. And wow. If you don't understand how it works and the general workings of it, you can get seriously lost because it's a different format. So that, I think, Isidingo also geared me for. It was, you know, and that's what happened. I went to Days of Our Lives, both shows, and I did the work, and I was literally out of that studio in no time, and I kind of almost blinked and missed the entire experience. Yeah.
Well, Steve had definitely captured the hearts of so many South Africans, eh?
Yeah, no, absolutely. They really loved the character, and yeah, he's obviously one of my favorites and closest to my heart. Yeah.
Isidingo, in a nutshell, was so addictive, and it gives us a peek into the lives of others and a chance to watch the fabulous lives, you know, through the characters. Yes, and those storylines last forever. I'm sure you agree with me that there are no shows in history of television that have more cliffhangers than soap operas, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
They take you right up to the edge on a Friday afternoon and then leave you dangling the entire weekend, like wondering what's going to happen. And then you don't know if anyone's going to be in a coma or there's an evil twin appearing. And suspense like that definitely keeps viewers coming back.
Absolutely, it's the escapism, you know. It's soap opera is total escapism, because of how far-fetched the stories can be sometimes, and it just allows people to come home and escape their reality and their real world and just get totally involved in this other world that is, you know. And Isidingo, and the thing about Isidingo as well at that time is it was a soap opera with a difference. In fact, for a while, the producers and directors wouldn't call it a soap opera. They would call it a daily drama because of the drama that they had written in the show. But of course, it was a soap opera eventually. And, yeah.
Well, Steve, you have also won the 4th season of Strictly Come Dancing. Was there a lot of pressure considering you have put in the hours of training to perfect a perfect routine?
Absolutely. It's you've literally got a week. So before the show actually starts, before the first broadcast, they give you some time. And I was lucky. I had a trainer who had quite a mind on her for forethinking, Lindsay Michael. And she kind of had the forethought to help to do sort of some basic training with me before we went into the complete throes of the whole thing. And just to give you the pressure, just to make you understand the pressure, the AD, the assistant director of the show, the guy who comes down and calls us to go in the ready to before we go on camera, came. I'll never forget this. He rounded us all up, and for the first show, and he said, "Okay, guys, congratulations, you've got here, and we're ready to go, and no pressure. You're just going live to 4 million people. See you now." You don't have time to think. It's a whirlwind. You've just got to keep those what you've learnt in your head, what you've been drilling the whole week inside in your mind, the routines, and some of them are complex, some of them are simpler. And funnily enough, I'm the one who struggles more with the simpler routines. And you just got to go ahead and just throw yourself into it completely. And I think what was on my side was the fact that I had done live theatre before, so I was used to the experience of having a big audience in front of me live. So you kind of just sort of imagine that that's what's behind the camera, but you also have a live studio audience. But the pressure was immense.
Oh, and getting to that graceful level, it takes a lot of training, and keeping in mind such an intense situation leads to a rewarding flow.
This is it, the final dance showdown. Batman Emmanuel versus Superman Trevor. Which one of our dancing heroes will walk away with the crown, and which one will be hanging up their dancing shoes? Stay tuned to find out in this, the finale of Strictly Come Dancing.
And well, congratulations, you won at the end of the day, right?
I did. That's my claim to fame. I beat Trevor Noah.
Winners of Strictly Come Dancing Season 4 are Emmanuel and Lindsay.
Congratulations, here you go, guys.
There you are.
Oh.
You've been waiting for 12 weeks to do this.
So Steve, what are you currently working on these days?
So currently, I'm actually working now more behind the camera. So I started a production company in 2018 called You Kick My Dog Productions. And we started off actually quite nicely with having done a short film called Sides of a Horn on the rhino poaching. It went on to win quite a few awards, and it qualified for Oscar nomination. We didn't get the nomination, unfortunately. Then my partner in the company, Aurelie Stratton, then also did an award-winning short on women abuse. So now we're currently in development of various genres of shows. We're also going into the animation space. We've got a company, we've got some writers and a company in the US and an animator in China that we're forming together a team to go into the animation space. We've got a beautiful story that we want to tell, an African story. And we're developing some feature films. We're developing 2 feature films. So it's all in developmental stages, getting ready to sell the shows, some TV shows. I'm also actually working outside of the industry in the trade game. I work on a platform called the African Trade Platform where we do commodities. So okay. I've had to diversify. And as far as my music is concerned, I've started working on a new song with Ross Learmonth from Prime Circle, and Dale from Prime Circle, and we had to obviously cut that short because of the pandemic. So everything's on the boil, so to speak.
Oh, Steve. Sorry, Emmanuel.
It's all right.
Oh, that's so fabulous. You know, you're so busy at all time, and busy is good, right?
Yeah. I'm also
Yeah.
busy with it. Well, now unfortunately because I'm quarantined, I can't have her in my arms. But I'm also busy raising a little baby girl. So that's probably one of the biggest roles I've ever had to play in my life. Is a dad. Yeah.
And the best role, right?
Absolutely. It's unbelievable. There's nothing like
How
it
old
in
is
the world. She'll be 5 months on the 10th of July.
Oh, wow. It's amazing. Is it your first baby?
It's my first. It's my wife's second. Yeah.
Oh, it's going to be an amazing journey ahead.
Oh, absolutely. And I have a wonderful 10-year-old stepdaughter who's just unbelievable with her sister.
Oh, wonderful. And well, you know, I always have these odd questions. Do you prefer coffee or tea?
Does it have to be a definitive answer? Because it really depends.
Any answer is good.
So it depends. Coffee in the morning, tea in the evening.
Well,
Which is the wrong way. The Brits wouldn't agree, would they?
well, as for me, I'm definitely a cappuccino person. I don't drink tea at all.
No tea at all.
No tea at all. In conclusion, what is your advice for aspiring actors who want to step into the film industry or paving the way to Hollywood?
Whew, that's such a big question, you know. Because I think my biggest advice, and this is something I've been seeing on a lot of platforms recently as well, because I've been, you know, looking at what's going on out there on Instagram and with the industry and how it's, you know, changed quite a bit, obviously, because of the pandemic. But I think my biggest advice would be, if you're going to pursue being an actor and pursue this road, you need to understand that this is a vocation and this is something that you have to want to do. Have to want to do and need to do. Not something that you want because of fame and fortune. To create a network as quickly as you can, well, as much as you can, not as quickly as you can. That's not something that happens really quickly, but you have to understand how you network as well. Networking is not about what I can get out of someone else. It's about creating a network of people who you can rely on and who can rely on you and who you can learn from. That's the most important thing about networking. Find people out there who you can learn from and that can mentor you, because if that's the case, then they'll always keep you in mind, especially if you show them that you're quite reliable in staying in contact and all of that kind of thing. It's a long question. It's a big thing. So I hope I'm not going on too long about it. But I think that's it. It's like you have to know what you're doing. You have to be prepared. You have to understand that you are unique and there's no one else like you on this planet. So you must always take what you need, what you can of yourself into an audition room, into wherever you go. And also understand that when you walk into a room to audition, it's your audition, it's your space, it's your time. And the casting agent on the other side of the camera wants you to get the job as much as you want to. But yeah, so I think be prepared and be like you must really want to do this if you're going to do it, because it's quite a journey. But when you do achieve some success, and that can be in any way, success doesn't necessarily mean being on the red carpet in Hollywood It could be just making a small film that goes global and touches thousands or millions of lives. It's very rewarding, and I love being an actor.
Great advice, Emmanuel. And acting is one of the toughest industries to excel in. With never-ending competition, and confidence is key. You have to take the risks, be brave, and go for it. Well, as I say, go big or go home, right?
Absolutely. Have a life outside of being an actor as well. That's important. It's important. It actually builds character anyway and makes you a better actor. But also have something to fall on, because it's not always going to be financially lucrative until you get to that point where when you're on a huge series or have hit a huge film. But with acting, it's very much a feast or famine type of thing. You're either earning quite a bit of money for a while, and then it stops for a while, and it happens to everybody. It happens to the top people in Hollywood as well. Everybody goes through that, the ups and downs. So always have something outside, interests, maybe even work outside that earns you money to keep you going.
I totally agree with you, Emmanuel. And Emmanuel Castis, thank you so much for joining me today. It was so incredible having you on our platforms. We wish you the best every step in your journey.
Thank you very much, and I wish you all the best. That was amazing. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. And to everyone watching, till next time with our amazing and fabulous celebrity guests.
Bye-bye. Remember, please discard all candy wrappers and popcorn containers in the nearest trash receptacle. Thank you. Okay, bye-bye now. Bye-bye. Bye. Okay. Are they all gone? Is everybody gone? Huh? Good. Oh my gosh, my cheeks are killing me. I can't keep smiling like this anymore. I am exhausted. I think I need a break. A little break? Okay.